in the all-new 2022 Genesis GV70, courtesy of Genesis of York in York, PA. For more information on their inventory, please feel free to check out the link in the description box below. I am ridiculously excited to be in this one today. This is an all-new entry-level SUV from Genesis, similar styling to the rest of the lineup, of course, including the larger GV80 as well. Of course, it also comes with America's best warranty, being 5-year 60,000 mile bumper to bumper, 10-year 100,000 miles on the powertrain, 3 years of complimentary maintenance as well. That's definitely a good selling point. And you get the Genesis experience, which essentially means you never actually have to go to a dealership. They will actually come to your home, come to your work, pick up your vehicle, drop you off a loaner, do whatever they need to do, and then give you your vehicle back to wherever you are. So that is definitely a very cool feature in itself as well. And so in this video, I will be testing out and going over everything about this one, from acceleration to paddle shifters, braking, steering feel, ride quality, sound system, exhaust clip, all of that fun stuff. So having said all of that, what do you guys say? Let's just go ahead and jump right into it. And as always, let's start with pricing. And so, as you can imagine, there are several different configurations you can go with for the 2022 GV70. First one is going to be the 2.5 turbo all-wheel drive. That one starts at $41,000 even. However, there are a few different package options that can tack onto that price, including the Select package, which adds an additional $4,000, Advanced package, which adds $8,150, and Sport Prestige, which adds $11,750 to that first engine configuration. But then there is the 3.5 liter twin turbo all-wheel drive, which is the one we have today. That one starts at $52,600. Then you have the Sport Advance, which tacks on $5,000, and the Sport Prestige, which specifically is what we have here, which tacks on $9,900. But so, like I said, with the configurations, there are actually two different engine setups for the GV70. First one is that 2.5 liter turbocharged inline 4-cylinder, putting out 300 horsepower at 5,800 RPM, 311 pound-feet of torque, coming in at right around 1,600 RPM. Power sent to all wheels. This is an all-wheel drive setup only for the GV70 through an 8-speed automatic with paddle shifters, which you guys know we will test out in a little bit here. 0 to 60, approximately 6 seconds flat, with MPG numbers coming in at 22 in the city, 28 on the highway, taking premium unleaded fuel. But so then we have the other engine configuration, being the one we have today, being a 3.5 liter twin turbo V6, 375 horsepower at 5,800 RPM, 391 pound-feet of torque, coming in at 1,300 RPM. Again, power sent to all wheels through an 8-speed automatic with paddle shifters. 0 to 60 time, according to Genesis, comes in at 4.9 seconds. That's pretty crazy quick, so I'm excited to test that out in a little bit here. But MPG numbers for this engine configuration: 19 in the city, 25 on the highway, again taking premium unleaded fuel. But so before we do any kind of fun acceleration or paddle shifter test here in our GV70, I did want to mention the drive modes. Of course, that drive mode button is located in front of the circular shifter and all of those buttons there, but they will include Eco, Comfort, Sport, Custom, and there is a Sport Plus driving mode if you were to go with the Sport package. So therefore, we actually do have that one today, but there's also some different terrain modes actually as well, including snow, sand, and mud terrain modes. But ultimately, all of these modes will adjust things like the shift points, the throttle response, the steering sensitivity, the braking, and the suspension settings actually as well. So quite a bit, a little bit more than I'm used to, so that's pretty cool. But oh yeah, one more thing, the actual gauge cluster is going to differ as well when you change those drive modes, and that is perhaps my favorite part about the GV70. We'll get into the 3D gauges in a little bit here, but let's go ahead and find a straightaway now. Let's put this thing to the test. Let's first test out the paddle shifters here. I just want to see how quickly they are going to react for us here. All right, you guys, we're in first gear. Let's see if we can get set up here on the main road in 3, 2, 1. Paddle shifter test. Wow. Good. Good. Wow, they're actually kind of quick. Usually with SUVs, you don't get those quick reacting paddle shifters, but Genesis did a pretty dang good job with the GV70. I will say that. And another thing, when I was waiting to actually get onto that main road, it was not shifting for me either. It's another thing I look for when I test out paddle shifters, to have actually full control when it's in that paddle shifter mode. So that's definitely a good thing. Acceleration test, here we go. Oh my gosh. Ah, yeah, buddy. Yeah, this thing is just launching. That was crazy. This is a ridiculous acceleration for an SUV. And this small SUV definitely has plenty get up and go. 0 to 60 in 4.9, under 5 seconds. is pretty dang impressive, you guys. And the twin turbo V6 is going to do that for you, of course. But that was pretty darn cool. But anyways, to go along with that acceleration, as always, braking is equally important. And so, as expected, you will find 4-wheel ventilated disc brakes, but also monoblock front brakes coming standard on this one as well. Let me tell you a little bit more about that. Made from one piece of material, of course, meaning mono, and these brakes are stronger, of course, than your typical brakes, more resistant to flex, and an improved braking feel and pad wear with monoblock brakes as well. And speaking of, let's go ahead and just hit the brakes a little bit here to see what the actual braking feel is like. It's great, actually. There's no dead spots, there's no brake pedal delay, and it immediately brought me to a stop here. So once again, Genesis, well done, you're killing it. Anyway, now let's go ahead and touch on suspension and handling a little bit. Of course, you will find a 4-wheel independent suspension, also an electronically controlled suspension with road preview, which essentially is Genesis's version of an adaptive suspension. It actually uses a camera system to scan the road in front of you and detect any kind of road imperfections to kind of balance that out to give you a smoother ride. So that's a pretty cool system there. Also, if you were to go with the Sport Prestige that we do indeed have here today, you will also get an electronic limited slip differential, essentially sending torque to the rear wheel with the most traction, giving you not only a better acceleration, but better handling around the turns, as we are doing right now as well. So that is definitely a big old plus and a big old performance feature for this small SUV there as well. And overall ride quality, that is probably the first thing I noticed. This is a ridiculously smooth ride. Immediately when I started driving this one, I noticed how smooth of a ride it was. So definitely a very nice setup for the GV70 when it comes to that. As far as steering feel goes, that's probably the second thing I noticed. I've driven so many cars at this point, you guys. These things mean a lot to me, believe it or not. So noticeably heavier steering feel than I'm used to with just about all other Hyundai and Genesis products out there right now. So a very nice weight to the steering, especially in this sport driving mode that I have it in right now. And again, that weight can differ slightly depending upon which driving mode that you put it in, but in sport, and even when you don't put it in sport, it's still a very nice feel to the steering. So I'll definitely say that as well. As far as cabin noise goes, that is as expected for any luxury SUV. It is a very serene cabin on the inside here, so I love that, and that is due in part because this one does come with an acoustic laminated front windshield and front door glass for all trim levels as well. You don't always get that, so I do want to emphasize that. Even on luxury manufacturers, you don't always get that, so that's pretty cool. And touching on visibility, I can see great out the back. Visibility is absolutely 100% on point in the GV70. Also, rain sensing windshield wipers do come standard on this one as well. So essentially what that is, kind of like automatic headlights, it's just whenever the GV70 detects any kind of mist or rainfall, it's going to automatically turn on those windshield wipers, as it has already for me in my drive today. So this is one less thing you got to worry about, so that's pretty darn cool as well. Also, with the Sport Prestige that we have today, we have a head-up display specifically for that package, giving me my speed as well as the speed limit and some safety features displayed up on my windshield to better help me keep my eyes on the road. That's always a good thing. And with the Sport Advanced package and up, you will get a blind spot monitor as well. So when I turn on my turn signal, it's going to show me what is in my blind spot up on the digital gauges here. So that is pretty darn cool there as well. But that about rounds out the performance segment of this review, guys. Let's now go ahead and find a cool spot, and let's now take a look at the exterior of our brand new 2022 Genesis GV70. All right, and so here she is, you guys, the new 2022 Genesis GV70 finished in uni white, in case anybody was curious of our exterior color name. But let's go ahead and start up front on this one. Of course, front and center, you have that large aluminum front grille. Then, of course, to the sides, you have front air curtains helping direct air around the wheel and tire combination, as just about all cars have these days. But to the sides, the headlights are what really impressed me and really what distinguished itself from every vehicle out there on the road right now. LED quad headlights come standard for every single configuration of the GV70. They, of course, come with the automatic feature as well, meaning when it starts to get dark out at night, those headlights will turn on automatically for you there. LED daytime running lights also coming standard. Automatic high beams also coming standard as well, meaning whenever the GV70 detects any kind of darkness coming, it will automatically turn on those headlights for you. So essentially, it's just one less thing you got to worry about there. It's pretty nice. And as far as that front lip goes, I wanted to mention this to you guys because it's either going to be one of two options. It's either a satin aluminum front lip or a gloss black front lip, which is currently what we have. So typically the way that works is with the sport trim levels, it's going to be gloss black. Otherwise, it is going to be satin aluminum. So I just wanted to mention that to you guys. But that pretty much rounds out the front. Let's go ahead and make our way now to the side of the GV70. All right, so once again, I have climbed into the woods for you guys here, but let's go ahead and take a look at the side. Roof rails do come standard across the board. Once again, they're either going to be finished in satin aluminum or gloss black like you guys are currently looking at right now. Rear privacy glass does come standard as well. Also, very interesting element to the C-pillar in the back here. Interesting design element, I should say. So it's kind of a different design, a unique design that you don't usually see on other vehicles out there. So I did think that was pretty cool as well. Again, with the windows, it's either going to be finished in satin aluminum or gloss black window surround. So I wanted to mention that. Body colored side skirts. That's always a little pet peeve of mine. I'm not a big fan of the matte black side skirts, but I do love that the GV70 does get body colored side skirts. So definitely a very high end look to it in my personal opinion. Then take a look at the side mirrors. They are body colored power adjustable side mirrors. They will be heated with LED integrated turn signals. They will be auto folding, and they also do come with puddle lights with the Genesis logo illuminated onto the ground then as well, which is pretty darn cool at night. But then take a look at the wheel setup. 18-inch alloy wheels with the 2.5T, 19-inch alloys for the 2.5 Select, 2.5 Advanced, and 3.5, and then 21-inch alloys like you guys are currently looking at for the 2.5 Sport Prestige and the 3.5 Sport Prestige as well. And you gotta love the design of these 21-inch alloy wheels as well. They're like nothing else on the road right now. It's like little indentations within the 5 spokes there. So it's a pretty darn cool look. But now, pretty much rounds out this side. Let's now go ahead and make our way to the back of this one. All right, so now since we are around back of the GV70, body colored shark fin antenna all the way to the top there. Just below that, rear spoiler with an integrated brake light. Just below that, rear window wiper. Genesis lettering, of course, spelled out horizontally there. And perhaps my favorite design element, look at these taillights. They are so stinking cool looking. LED taillights coming standard for every single configuration of this one, and they are very elongated, wrapping around the side. Very cool look to them without a doubt. But yet another very cool design element of the GV70 can be found just below. And so this rear bumper is pretty darn cool, and it is going to differ slightly, I will say that, amongst the configurations. But as far as the exhaust outlets go though, twin trapezoidal exhaust outlets found in the rear bumper if you go with the 2.5 setup. However, you will get twin circular large chrome exhaust outlets integrated into the rear bumper if you go with the 3.5. And once more, there's something I did not mention to you guys previously. Since we have a sport trim level, that Sport Plus driving mode is going to adjust the exhaust note as well. So I'll show you guys the difference here, and I do believe you guys know what we have to do next. Then, as always, here is that exhaust clip. All right, so now since we are around back of the GV70, when it comes to opening that rear tailgate, power tailgate does come standard on this one for every single configuration. Also, a hands-free power tailgate, so if your hands are full, you don't have to worry about that little setup there. There's also actually a button in the back. It's not on the tailgate itself, it's actually on the bottom portion of the rear window wiper, believe it or not. So it's a slightly different configuration than most other SUVs out there, but that's how you're gonna go ahead and open that one up there. Also a button by the driver's side left knee, but nonetheless, once opened up, cargo capacity comes in at 28.9 cubic feet. If that was not enough space, there actually are some levers in that cargo area. You can fold that down. There is a 60-40 split, bumping that up to 56.9 cubic feet. Also, LED cargo lighting found back there as well. I definitely love that. There are plenty of grocery bag hooks. There's tie-down anchors. There's actually a little bit of in-floor storage back there as well. There is an available cargo cover and a 12-volt power outlet then back there as well. And there's a little bit of netting, a little bit of cargo netting storage on the sides there too. So overall, pretty much everything you could possibly want in the cargo area of an SUV. But now let's go ahead and make our way up to the rear legroom. That is going to come in at 37.2 inches. So for reference, I'm even 6 feet tall. This is how much space I had sitting in the back seats there. Rear center armrest with cup holders, of course, does come standard. Rear ventilation as well. Actually, tri-zone climate control is available on this one, meaning the rear passengers can actually set their own temperatures back there, which is pretty cool. As far as the charging ports go, Genesis actually went above and beyond here. There are 2 USB charging ports, which are great if you have 2 kids up there that want to keep their tablets charged up, but also a 120 volt power outlet back there as well, which I was very surprised to see. So that was pretty cool. Heated rear seats coming with the 3.5 Sport Prestige that we have today, so you could spoil the rear passengers a little bit there. Also, rear window sunshades. This is one of my favorite features, especially if you have a newborn, you're driving home from the hospital. You don't want that sun baking in the eyes, so rear window sunshades, the real ones that come from the manufacturer, not the cheap ones you can buy at Walmart because they don't always work. These are the ones that you want, so definitely very impressive for the rear passengers overall. But now, let's go ahead and make our way to the front seats of the GV70. And so as far as the standard configuration up front, 12-way power adjustable driver's seat does come standard, leatherette finish coming standard with heated front seats, so that is pretty good. Leather seating coming with the 2.5 advanced trim level and up, really. Leather seating with a mesh insert coming with the 2.5 Sport Prestige and 3.5 Sport. Quilted Napa leather coming with a 3.5 Sport Advanced, and Napa leather and suede coming with the 3.5 Sport Prestige with the red accenting. That is currently what we have today, in case anybody was curious. But overall, with the lumbar support on these GV70 seats, incredibly comfortable. I could very easily see myself going on a trip to Ocean City, Maryland in the GV70 because these seats are ridiculously comfortable, mostly thanks to the very adjustable lumbar support found in the GV70. So I love that. But now let's go ahead and take a look at the steering wheel here. And so of course it is tilt and telescoping, it is power adjustable, it is leather wrapped. Then, if you were to go with the 3.5 Sport Advanced or 3.5 Sport Prestige, it then will be heated as well. But now let's go ahead and make our way to the startup. Let me start by showing you guys the key. And by the way, this is a very cool key, and I'll show you why here in a second. Genesis logo on the one side. When you flip it over, you have pretty much everything you could possibly want. Lock, unlock, that button to pop the rear hatch. The circular hold button, that is going to be a remote start, and that is going to come on the 2.5 advanced trim level and up. Push button start, of course, is standard across the board. Digital key is coming with the advanced and prestige trim levels. And of course, we also have parking assist, or as Hyundai calls it, Smart Pack. This is a very cool feature. And so essentially, as long as the vehicle is locked and you use that remote start button, you can then use this feature to actually pull your vehicle in or out of a parking spot, I guess, if you wanted to. If the other vehicles to your side are a little bit too close, maybe you got kids, you want to open the door a little bit wider. I don't know, it's a pretty cool feature though. All right, so next let's make our way to the gauges, which quite honestly may be my very favorite part of the GV70. Here's why. 8-inch digital gauge cluster coming with the Sport, okay, but 12.3-inch 3D digital gauge cluster coming with the 2.5 Sport Prestige and 3.5 Sport Prestige. And so this gauge cluster has been in Korea for a while now. I think this is the first time though they have finally brought it here to the US, and let me tell you guys, it is amazing. I've never seen this gauge cluster on any other vehicle I've tested here in the US to date, and quite honestly, this is my new favorite because it is 3D. It is such a cool look. Not only that, you can actually adjust the look of the gauges when you adjust the driving mode. So for example, if I put it in sport, you're going to get a lot of gray and red hues. If I were to put it back to comfort, it's a lot of kind of cyan kind of colors and gray. And then if I were to put it in eco, it is more of a blue look and a completely different look. So really, it completely changes depending upon the driving mode that you put it in. And again, my favorite part of it is that it is 3D. No other gauges I have ever seen have been 3D, and this is a wonderful look. So, of course, you can adjust what is on there by using the steering wheel mounted controls on the right side. Trip A outside temperature. When you need your next oil change, the list goes on, so quite a bit you could check out up there. And quite honestly, my favorite gauge cluster to date, let me tell you. But anyways, let's go ahead and make our way to overall interior quality. Panoramic sunroof coming standard for all trim levels. Suede headliner, I love that we have that here today with the Sport Advanced and Sport Prestige. Overhead sunglass holder also coming standard up top there. Wireless phone charger coming standard. Every single configuration, gotta love that as well. Carbon trim coming with the Sport. Layered edge backlit trim coming with the Sport Advanced. Real carbon fiber trim coming with the Sport Prestige. This isn't the fake stuff. This is real carbon fiber trim, so you gotta love that. Ambient lighting, I love that as well, and I love the placement of it. It's in the doors, it's around all the climate control information. It's on the passenger side of this center cluster here. Absolutely love that. Overall, ambient lighting looks absolutely amazing in this thing, and overall the finishes, the quality, all of this found on the doors here, it's all very soft touch. You got authentic carbon fiber trim. You even have LED lighting located within the passenger side glove box. You never find that. That is absolutely amazing. All of this is soft touch material above the passenger side glove box. There is red contrast stitching. I love the vent that kind of continues the silver trim onto the doors as well. It's just an insanely nice interior quality. And again, the suede headliner, I've always loved that. I feel like I'm in a Lamborghini with that. It's absolutely amazing. I love the center portion of the steering wheel with the red contrast stitching and the Genesis logo as well. Anyways, just in front of the cup holders, you have 2 more USB charging ports. That is pretty cool. And that's actually where you're gonna find your wireless phone charger. Again, standard for all configurations. And of course, just behind that, you have dual cup holders within the center armrest. You have a 12-volt power outlet and a decent amount of storage within there. But again, overall, I cannot fault this interior at all. It is absolutely wonderful, quite honestly. But now, it continues to get better because check out this infotainment screen. It is a 14.5-inch color touchscreen display. Let me tell you guys, I just drove a Maserati maybe a couple weeks ago that had, I think, an 8.5-inch color touchscreen display. This is a 14.5-inch screen. This is wonderful. Bluetooth and audio streaming coming standard, Android Auto, Apple CarPlay. And by the way, you can control it using the circular dial just in front of the shifter as well if you did not want to use the touchscreen. So you do have options there, by the way. And actually, factory navigation system also coming standard on this one. There's a voice memo system that is pretty darn cool as well. There's climate control information up there. There's something called quiet mode where it cancels out the rear speakers. If perhaps the kids in the back are sleeping, you still want to listen to music, it limits the volume to, I believe, 7 up front. So that is a pretty cool feature as well. And again, that's called quiet mode. There's also perhaps my favorite feature, sounds of nature. And so once again, let me just let you guys listen to those sounds real quick. So in addition to that, you do have your traditional radio information you can access up there. And by the way, there are a couple different sound systems. 6 speakers is going to be the standard configuration, of course, but if you were to go with the Sport Advanced trim level and up, you will get an 18 speaker Lexicon sound system. That's a ton of speakers, let me tell you guys. But anyways, do believe you guys know what we have to do next. Let's go ahead and turn on the radio, see what we got playing today, and let's test out the clarity of this one. I don't get this often, but it's another one of those situations where I did not want to actually turn it off. The clarity with 18 speakers, I guess it's expected, but the clarity was ridiculous. Like, I haven't heard a sound system that clear in quite a while. Maybe since Bowers and Wilkins. That's still my favorite sound system, but that was a ridiculous sound system. Super clear, ton of bass, nothing wrong with that whatsoever. Wonderful sound system for the GV70. But last thing I wanted to mention to you guys on that infotainment screen is when you do put the GV70 in reverse, of course, we'll find a rear view camera coming standard across the board. And not only that, for the Sport Advanced trim level and up, it's actually also going to give you a surround view monitor just next to that, giving you a bird's eye view essentially of everything around you, which is always is going to lead us into safety. And so to start, front side current airbags do come standard. Driver's knee airbag. In the back, you're going to have latch, aka lower anchors and tethers for children for the rear car seats, rear child door locks, tire pressure monitoring system, but also coming standard across the board is going to be forward collision avoidance assist, lane following assist, blind spot monitoring system with rear cross traffic alert, adaptive cruise control with stop and go, driver attention warning system, high beam assist, and safe exit assist as well. And then if you were to go with the Sport Advanced trim level and up, you're also going to get parking collision avoidance assist then as well. And so overall, when it comes to my final thoughts here of the GV70, 3D digital gauges are my favorite feature. I've never seen anything like it. They are absolutely amazing. And I would buy this SUV just for that feature alone, quite honestly. Genesis, keep that. Put on every other vehicle because that is wonderful. Styling is great on this one. Safety is great. Twin turbo V6 is a beast. Tech is great. This aquamarine blue interior color that we have here in this one is absolutely great as well. Yeah. Ambient lighting is great. As far as room for improvement goes, I I don't know. The seatbelts are red. I wanted them to be blue. I don't know. I don't have anything. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. That is about it for this one, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I love this one. We're in the new 2022 Acura MDX, courtesy of Bobby Rahal Acura in Mechanicsburg, PA. For more information on their inventory, please feel free to check out the link in the description box below. And so yes, the 22s are now making their way to the dealerships. That is quite exciting for me, at least. But anyways, wanted to jump in this one today because this has been completely redesigned for the 2022 model year for the MDX. My mother actually owns an MDX as well, and she loves it. It's definitely been perfectly reliable for her. So today in this video, I will be going over everything about this new 2022 MDX, testing out acceleration, braking, ride quality, sound system, exhaust clip, everything. So having said all of that, what do you guys say? Let's just go ahead and jump right into it. And as always, let's start with pricing. And so as you can imagine, there are several different trim levels for the 2022 MDX. First one being the base trim, starting at $46,900. Then you have the technology package for $51,600. A spec, which is the one we have today, going for $57,100. Advanced package for $60,650. And then there is the Type S, which isn't out yet, so I can't give you any of that pricing information, but that one should be coming approximately in the summer of this year, 2021. So having said that, those first two trims, that was pricing for the front wheel drive configuration. If you wanted to add all-wheel drive, simply add $2,000. However, for the A-Spec and Advanced package, those do come standard with all-wheel drive, so don't add anything to those prices. But regardless of trim level that you go with, the power plant on the MDX is going to be the same. Powering this beast is a 3.5 liter direct injected V6, putting out 290 horsepower at 6,200 RPM, 267 pound-feet of torque, available at 4,700 RPM. Power sent to front wheels or all wheels through a 10-speed automatic with some very nice silver paddle shifters, which you guys know we will be testing out in a little bit here. 0 to 60 time comes in at approximately 6.1 seconds, with MPG numbers coming in at 19 city, 26 highway for the front wheel drive, 19 city, 25 on the highway then for the all-wheel drive configuration. But either way, taking premium unleaded fuel, that is the recommended fuel for the MDX. But so that before we do any kind of paddle shifter test or acceleration test in the MDX, did want to mention there are several drive modes. They will include snow, comfort, normal, sport, and individual. And so the drive mode button is labeled dynamic mode. It is a silver button located just up top of the drive buttons, I guess you could say. So when you turn that to the left or to the right, that is how you're going to be able to adjust those drive modes. And what those drive mode adjustments will do is adjust things like the shift points, the throttle response, the steering sensitivity, the digital gauge cluster as well. I'll give you some different colors there, and I'll go over the gauge cluster in a little bit. It's actually pretty cool. Also a sportier engine sound if you were to put it in that sport driving mode, and it's also going to adjust the all-wheel drive system engagement as well. As you can imagine, with the snow mode, that is going to essentially give you full-time all-wheel drive more or less. So having said all of that, now let's go ahead and find straight away. I want to put the paddle shifters to the test here first, essentially just testing out how quickly they are going to react for us here. All right, you guys, here's our straightaway. Here we go. Nice. Not bad. There is a slight delay. It's not too bad though. I will say that for an SUV. Typically with SUVs, you'll find absolutely ridiculously slow paddle shifters, but actually with the MDX, they're okay. They're okay. They're not the quickest I've ever tested, but they're okay. So I don't mind them. And also, they're also nice to have because we have a ton of snow here in Pennsylvania. You can always just use the paddle shifters to do some engine braking, so you're less inclined to slide off a hill, perhaps when you're going down a hill, rather than actually hitting the brakes. Just use the paddle shifters, and that's going to help you out a little bit there too. But now what do you guys say? Let's go ahead and give back full control to the MDX, and let's do a quick little acceleration test, and let's see if see how quickly we can get the new MDX here up to speed. Let's hit it, guys. It actually does sound good in sport mode. I can attest to that. That was pretty cool. Definitely more than enough of an acceleration to get you up to speed to merge onto the highway. It's not the quickest SUV I've ever tested, but it is a direct injected V6, so it will definitely get the job done without a doubt. So plenty of an acceleration for the MDX. But to go along with that acceleration. As always, braking is equally important. And so up front, you will find 13.8-inch ventilated front discs. In the back, 13-inch solid rear discs. As far as the braking feel goes, it's been perfectly fine for me today. I know in the past, sometimes, I know with the RDX back in the day, it did have a softer braking feel, but actually with the MDX, maybe it's because we have the A-Spec, I don't know, braking feel is perfectly fine, so no issues there. Touching on suspension and handling, up front, you're gonna get a double wishbone type front suspension. In the back, independent multi-link rear suspension, of course, front and rear stabilizer bars as well. But Acura actually goes above and beyond with the suspension on the MDX. Here's why. Also, adaptive damping suspension for every single trim level across the board. I absolutely love that. I love adaptive damping suspensions. Here's why. What that essentially means is the MDX is going to monitor each shock absorber individually, not only tightening up the suspension during heavy cornering, but also it's going to use those sensors to read the road's imperfections and also give you a smoother ride then as well. So it really gives you the best of both worlds. So I absolutely love that Acura put that standard on the MDX. I know my mother's MDX doesn't have it, so that is pretty darn cool. And having said that, the ride quality is actually very, very good. And I do have it in comfort drive mode right now. We do actually have some pretty punishing roads here in Pennsylvania, but I will say it is absorbing them quite nicely. So ride quality is plenty fine in the MDX. As far as steering feel goes, I will say it is a noticeable difference depending upon what drive mode that you put it in. So when I put it in that sport driving mode, it did have a noticeably heavier feel, which I like. That is the steering feel I would prefer. So all in all, I would probably put it on the individual mode here just so I could tailor that steering feel to be a bit heavier, but not necessarily the acceleration, because you really don't need that instant acceleration at all times in the MDX. But all in all, steering feel is plenty fine. I particularly like it in the sport driving mode. As far as cabin noise goes, that is excellent in the MDX, and part of the reason that is excellent in the MDX is because this one does come with an acoustic laminated front windshield and side glass as well. You don't always get the side glass, so for that reason there is no wind noise coming into the cabin whatsoever. Even with this insanely large panoramic moonroof that we have here, sometimes wind noise comes in through that as well. In other vehicles that I've tested, there's nothing in here in the MDX, so that is pretty darn cool. I like that. But anyways, touching on visibility, I can see plenty fine out the back. I will say when you have that third row up, those headrests are quite beefy, so that's going to impede visibility ever so slightly. If you don't have third row passengers, just fold it down and it's all good. So I did want to mention that. And in addition to that, rain sensing windshield wipers, you're actually going to get them if you go with the technology package and up. Essentially what that means is when the MDX detects any kind of mist or rainfall, it's going to automatically turn on those windshield wipers, just like automatic headlights. Just one less thing you got to worry about there, so that's pretty cool. Also, if you were to go with the advanced package, you will get a head-up display, and that is the only package that you're going to get, that head-up display. So if you wanted that, that's how you're going to get it. But that about rounds out the performance segment of this review, you guys. Let's now go to the park and let's check out the exterior of our brand new 2022 Acura MDX. All right, so here she is, you guys, the new completely redesigned 2022 Acura MDX. What do you guys think about the design? Let me know in the comment section below. I actually like it. I think it's a lot sportier looking than its predecessor, so for that reason I'm actually a fan. But let's go ahead and start up front of the MDX here. Gotta say, I'm definitely a fan of the front grille. That Acura logo is probably the biggest manufacturer logo I have seen on any vehicle out there as of now. That is a massive Acura logo. Anyways, it still looks good up there, of course. But to the sides, dual eye LED headlights do come standard for every single trim level. Love that. Automatic feature, of course, coming standard with that, meaning when it starts to get dark out at night, they will turn on automatically for you there. Automatic high beams, also standard, meaning all you got to do is set that, and then when it senses a car coming in the opposite direction, it's going to automatically dim down those high beams back to low beams, and then when that vehicle is gone, it puts back on the high beams for you, so added visibility at night, and definitely a very nice feature to have. LED daytime running lights, also standard. LED fog lights down below, coming with the A-Spec and advanced packages only, so therefore that's what you guys are looking at right now. Also have some air curtains in the front corners there as well, and actually since we have the A-Spec today, there is some A-Spec specific styling that you will find on this particular trim as opposed to the other package options available for the MDX. But now let's go ahead and make our way to the side of this one. And so now, since we are around the side of the MDX, first thing I want to mention is
roof rails. If you wanted roof rails, that will come only with the advanced package. So I found that kind of interesting, but it's how you're going to get them. Rear privacy glass do come standard across the board. Chrome window surrounds come standard with the exception of the A spec. Therefore, we are going to get black window surrounds because of that. Little different styling there. You will find some A spec badging for the A spec trim level found on the front fenders there. I think you guys can see that. When it comes to the side mirrors, they are power adjustable body colored side mirrors for all trims. They will be heated for all trims. LED integrated turn signals as well, with a reverse gear tilt down feature then as well. So a lot going on with the side mirrors actually. Then take a look down at the wheel setup. 19 by 8.5 inch split 5-spoke alloys for the base. However, 20 by 9 inch split 5-spoke alloys with the technology package in A spec, and 20 by 9 inch premium silver 10-spoke alloys then for the advanced. So a little different wheel setups dependent upon the trim level that you go with. Also wanted to mention LED door handle lights coming with the advanced package then as well. But now let's go ahead and make our way to the back of the MDX. So, but now since we are around back, up top you will find that body colored shark fin antenna. Just below that, rear spoiler with the integrated brake light. Just below that, rear window wiper. Also LED taillights coming standard for all trim levels across the board. Love the design of those rear taillights as well. It's pretty cool. Also, you're going to find that A-spec badging if you go with the A-spec trim level. SHAWD is super handling all-wheel drive. That, of course, is Acura's all-wheel drive system found in the bottom portion of that tailgate there. And then just below it all, a very cool looking exhaust setup. I got to admit, dual exhaust outlets with chrome tips. So having said that, I do believe you guys know what we have to do next. As always, here is that exhaust clip. Alright, so now since we are around back of the MDX, when it comes to opening that rear liftgate, it is a power liftgate for every single trim level across the board. There is a button on the key fob itself that is one way. There is also a button on the driver's side door, and of course there's a button on the liftgate itself as well. But I did want to mention, in addition to that, if you were to go with the advanced package, that's also going to give you a hands-free power liftgate if you have your hands full. And then that actually also comes with the walk away close feature, meaning if you just simply walk away, it's going to automatically close for you, which is kind of convenient. I kind of like that. But anyways, once opened up, cargo capacity comes in at 16.3 cubic feet behind that third row. There is a 50-50 split folding third row, by the way. So once you folded that down, that comes in at 39.1 cubic feet. And then with all rows folded, it's going to come in at 71.4 cubic feet. So decent amount of space, not as much as some of the competition, but still a decent amount of space back there. But wanted to mention, in the cargo area, it really does have everything you could possibly want back there. You got in-floor storage for every single trim level, and a decent amount at that. Not every manufacturer gives you that, so I like that. Also 12-volt power outlet back there. There is grocery bag hooks. There's cargo tie-down anchors. There's also LED cargo lighting back there as well. So really just about everything you could possibly want in the cargo area, which is pretty nice. But then making our way to the third row legroom, that's going to come in at 29.1 inches, which is slightly better than my old Ford Mustang GT, which came in at 29 inches. So having said that, maybe small children can fit back there, but it's really not a whole lot of space in the third row at least. But then making our way to the second row legroom, that is going to come in at 38.5 inches. Definitely acceptable there. Again, for reference, I'm even 6 feet tall. This is how much space I had in the second row, so plenty for me. Not to mention, one of my favorite parts, technology packaging up is going to give you rear window sunshades, which essentially is going to block the sun from blinding your newborn or your small children in the back seat. And they are tons better than the ones you buy at Walmart aftermarket. So definitely go with the manufacturer rear window sunshades when you have the opportunity, like you can get in the MDX here. But tri-zone climate control is also going to come standard on every single trim level, meaning the rear passengers can actually set their own temperatures back there if they wanted to. Advanced package is also going to give you heated second row seats, which is pretty cool. We'll also get a 12-volt power outlet back there and 2 USB charging ports then for those second row passengers as well, so they can charge up their tablets in the back. So that's always a good thing too. Second row is definitely where you want to be here in the MDX. It's plenty fine. Then make our way up to the front seats. 12-way power adjustable driver and passenger seat comes standard. You don't always get the power adjustable passenger seat, so that is pretty cool. Leatherette finish comes standard. Heated front seats come standard. Then when you go to the technology package and up, that's going to give you perforated leather. A-Spec is going to add to that perforated leather with the suede combination to it. That, of course, is what you guys are looking at right now. Also, with the A-Spec, you get heated and ventilated front seats. Then if you were to go with that advanced package, that is going to add, in addition to that, 16-way power adjustable front seats, and that includes power lumbar, power thigh extensions, power side bolsters. That is a good bit of adjustments, but nonetheless, since we have the A-Spec today, I will say these seats are plenty comfortable. And you know why? Because they don't have any horizontal seams. I love that. So whenever we got vertical seams, I feel like the seats are always more comfortable because you don't have any awkward pressure points. So that's why I'm a big fan of these MDX seats. But nonetheless, let's now go ahead and make our way to the steering wheel. It is tilt and telescoping. It is power adjustable for every single trim level. And not only that, it's a fairly quickly power adjustable steering wheel too. A lot of times it's super slow when you use these power adjustable steering wheels, but this one's pretty quick. I like that. Leather wrap steering wheel comes standard on all trim levels. You also get a flat bottom with the A-Spec logo towards the bottom if you were to go with that A-Spec. So like the flat bottom, that's pretty cool. And you will get a heated steering wheel then if you were to go with that advanced package. But now let's go ahead and make our way to the startup because there's a lot of things I want to say about this. Let me show you guys the key here first. Definitely a new design. It's a heavier weight to it, so I like that. You do have your Acura logo on the one side, then you got your Acura lettering on the side of the key, and then when you flip it over, I guess it's pretty basic on that side. Just your lock, unlock, and that button to pop the rear hatch. But of course it is all keyless entry with a push button start for every single trim level. Then you will actually get a remote start in addition to that if you were to go with the advanced package. So all I'm going to do, simply put my foot on the brake and press that bright red engine start button located just to the left of the climate control vents there. And so once started up, this is perhaps my favorite part of the new MDX here. This is a 12.3-inch digital gauge cluster, which by the way, comes standard on every single trim level. I love that. A lot of times with other luxury manufacturers, you only get the digital gauges on the upper trim level. So I love that every trim is going to get them because they are awesome. Here's why. You can of course adjust what is on those digital gauges by using the steering wheel mounted controls. And it's a pretty common sense setup here. So there's steering wheel mounted controls on the left side to adjust the left side of those gauges, and then steering wheel mounted controls on the right side to adjust the right side of the gauges. And then of course there is a digital speedometer front and center towards the top there. Little picture of the MDX as well, how many miles you have left until you hit empty, outside temperature, really everything you could possibly want up there. But the best part, like I was alluding to earlier in the video, you guys, when you change the drive mode, it is going to completely adjust the colors up on those gauges. It's going to make a pretty cool sound when you do that too. You guys probably heard that. Snow driving mode is going to kind of put it in white, the color of snow, of course. Comfort is going to put you in blue. Normal is going to put you in gray. And sport is going to put you in red. All of that makes sense. And I love that it changes the complete look of the gauges. It's pretty darn cool. I love it. But anyways, let's now go ahead and make our way to overall interior quality. Panoramic moonroof comes standard on all trim levels, and actually a good bit comes standard across the board, including LED interior lighting. You do get an auto dimming frameless rear view mirror for all trim levels as well. That's pretty cool. Tri-zone climate control comes standard for all trim levels as well. Brushed aluminum trim coming with the base trim level of the MDX. Also, if you go with the technology package and up, you will get ambient LED lighting with 27 different color options, which is pretty darn cool. You do get metal pedals with the A-Spec package. Love that. Advanced package is going to give you some wood trim in lieu of the aluminum trim that we have here. There's also a wireless phone charger for every single trim level, which my phone is charging right now. That is pretty cool. Homeland controls also found just below the frameless rear view mirror for up to 3 different garage doors. Also standard on every single trim level across the board. Love that. There's a cool cabin talk system, which I know Genesis does too. That is going to come with the A-Spec and advanced packages, projecting your voice into the rear seats. That is pretty darn cool. Overall, interior quality is definitely quite nice. I love the red contrast stitching with the black leather found just underneath the infotainment screen. I like the aluminum trim details. Definitely like the speaker covers. We'll test out that sound system in a little bit here. Love all the red leather. It's definitely a very vibrant, very in-your-face color, which I personally love. I don't know. Like the silver accents on even the passenger side glove box handle. They don't need to do that. A lot of manufacturers just leave it as like a matte gray or a matte black, but I love the silver there. Also, the piano black finishes I'm definitely a fan of. However, My one constructive criticism for the interior quality is everything around the cup holders and the wireless phone charger. That is a matte gray finish, and I think they probably could have put, if you're going to leave it plastic, at least a nice little design to that plastic, or maybe bring this aluminum trim that you have up here just below the infotainment screen down there as well. I think that would look pretty good. But anyways, that's my one constructive criticism, but everything else is 100% on point. Overhead sunglass holder, I almost forgot to mention that. So overall, definitely very nice, very, very nice interior quality of the MDX. Then taking a look at the infotainment screen, 12.3-inch infotainment screen to match the 12.3-inch digital gauges, so that's pretty cool. Bluetooth and audio streaming comes standard. Wireless Android Auto, Apple CarPlay for all trim levels. I emphasize that because there are very few manufacturers doing wireless Android Auto, Apple CarPlay right now, so I love that Acura put that in the MDX. It's so hard to get that these days, at least as of this video, as of right now, so I love that you don't have any wires dangling everywhere. So well done, Acura, for that. Factory navigation system coming with technology package and up. Ambient lighting, as I said, you can adjust up there as well. Climate control settings, and also your radio information. So when it comes to the sound systems, there are 3 of them, depending upon the trim level or package option that you go with. Bass trim is going to give you 9 speakers. Technology package is going to give you a 12-speaker ELS Studio sound system. Then the A-Spec and Advanced packages will give you a 16-speaker ELS Studio sound system. So having said that, you guys, what do you guys say? Let's go ahead and turn on the radio, see what we got playing today, and let's test out the clarity of our 16-speaker ELS Studio sound system we have here today. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. I would say at this point, because I remember playing this sound system in the TLX as well, which is amazing. Again, this is my solid #2 sound system of every vehicle out there right now, just behind Bowers & Wilkins and Volvo. But this is an absolutely amazing sound system without a doubt. The bass is great, the clarity is amazing, wonderful sound system. I'd probably say maybe Lexicon with Genesis would be my #3, Mark Levinson with Lexus would be my #4, and so on. So wow, amazing sound system with the ELS Studio there. Last thing I wanted to mention to you guys on that infotainment screen is when you do put the MDX in reverse, you will find a rear view camera coming standard for every single trim level across the board. Surround view camera coming with the advanced package then as well, which is always going to lead us into safety. And so front side curtain airbags do come standard. Driver and passenger knee airbags as well. You don't always get that with every vehicle out there. In the back, you're going to have latch, aka lower anchors and tethers for children for the rear car seats, rear child door locks, tire pressure monitoring system, but also standard for every single trim level across the board, a collision mitigation braking system, advanced pedestrian detection, adaptive cruise control, lane keep assist, road departure mitigation system, traffic jam assist, traffic sign recognition, forward collision warning, lane departure warning, and a blind spot monitoring system with rear cross traffic alert. That is essentially everything you could possibly want coming standard on all trim levels. But if you were to go with the technology package and up, you also get front and rear parking sensors in addition to that. So really all of the safety comes standard across the board, which I absolutely love. So overall, when it comes to my final thoughts here of the MDX, the redesign definitely looks good. I'm definitely excited to check out the Type S. If I get that opportunity, that'll be pretty cool. ELS Studio sound system is absolutely amazing. If you love music, definitely go with the advanced package or the A-Spec. That is going to give you the best sound systems more or less out there right now, so that is pretty cool. Digital gauges are amazing. I'm glad Acura is finally getting into that category, since a lot of other manufacturers are doing that right now too, so I love that. I personally would probably pick the technology package. I feel like that's the best bang for your buck with the MDX. Reason being is you do get 27 colors of ambient lighting. You also get an upgraded ELS Studio sound system. It's not the very best one, but it is still ELS, so that is definitely good. Tons of advanced safety features on this one as well, which I love. As far as constructive criticism goes, I will say for Acura, If you maybe made the MDX a little bit bigger, you would give it a little more third row legroom. It'd be a little more competitive with some of the other competitors in its class. Since this is a 3-row SUV, overall cargo capacity should come in at right around 84 cubic feet, in my opinion, just kind of like the Honda Pilot, I guess. So I think it would definitely benefit from a little extra size there. Then of course you would have the RDX just below that if you wanted a smaller SUV. And also the only other thing I got is just so fuel economy, but honestly, who really cares? It's all right. So overall, definitely a very solid pick. I really like this one for all those reasons I just mentioned. Let me know what you guys think of the new 2022 MDX in the comments section below. That is